Hello everyone, today's lesson is going to be about value and how to create a value scale. Value is important in making a drawing come to life and appear more realistic. This is going to help us when we create our realistic eye drawing. You'll have the option to create this in regular graphite pencils or using a colored pencil, but I'll demonstrate both. Here are the materials you'll need for this project. Okay, let's get started. I'm showing two different ways to measure out your value scale, and the first is with a ruler. Draw out a line 6 inches across, then draw an outline around your ruler, then connect the last segment to create your scale. Now we'll split this into 6 boxes. We will make a mark along each inch on the bottom of the rectangle, and then do the same on the other side. Now we'll connect those 2 points, and there. Now, if you don't have a ruler, you can make the same thing with any straight edge. You could use a book, a folder, your phone. I'll just be using my phone. So I'll create a long rectangle about this size. It doesn't need to be exactly 6 inches. And once I've done that, I need to create my 6 boxes. To do that, I'm going to find the middle of the rectangle and make a mark to divide it in half with my straight edge. Then I take one of those 2 smaller halves and split that into 3 boxes. Sketch out where you think it would be evenly split into 3, then create a darker line with your straight edge. Clean up any sketch marks or stray lines, and we're ready to start shading. To create your value scale, you'll be making shades in tone across your 6 squares, going from dark to light. In my example, the leftmost square will be as dark as I can possibly go, and then on the right, the square will be pure white. I'll need to make a gradation in tone between the darkest shade and pure white. To do that, I'm going to start with my darkest shade. When I create that first square, I'm pressing down as hard as I can, overlapping lines going in one direction and lines going another. Don't press so hard that you rip through the paper, but press down hard enough that it gets very, very dark. Moving to the next square, I'm going a shade lighter. This is still very dark, but I'm not pressing down as hard as possible like I did with that first square. You want this to come out smooth, so layer, layer, layer to get the right darkness of tone. You don't want to get too dark too quickly. While you can always erase graphite, it can be difficult if you made a really dark mark, because that tends to look messy when you try to erase it. I'm getting even lighter, controlling the pressure of my pencil, not pushing so hard on the paper right away. Again, I'm gradually building up layers. As you go, you might notice that some of your tones could be pushed a little bit darker, and it's okay to go back over those as you work, making them a little darker as needed. Remember that the very last square will be left pure white, so try to make it as gradual as you can without huge jumps from dark to light. To blend things even more, you can use your finger going in little circles to blend your pencil marks. And there you go. There's my finished graphite value scale, gradually going from a dark value to pure white. Now for those of you who would like to try this with colored pencil, it can be a little bit more challenging. Not all colors have the same value range. In these value scales of yellow and blue, notice what happens when I take out all the saturation or color and this turns into a grayscale image. You can see clearly that blue has a much greater range in value and yellow just doesn't have that range. So when you choose a color, try to stick to hues that have a greater value range, like blues, purples, and greens, and dark reds. I'm starting my colored pencil value scale the same way that I started with the graphite, going from left to right, dark to light. I'm using the same techniques as I did for the graphite drawing, but colored pencil is a little bit more tricky. With graphite, I had the option to erase, and I could blend with my finger. With colored pencil, you don't have those 2 options. Once you lay down the color, it's impossible to erase. That's why it's important to practice layering and blending your pencil marks so that you don't get too dark a value too quickly. Also notice that I'm keeping the same value throughout the entire box I'm shading in. One side of the box isn't lighter or darker than the other. Try to keep it a consistent tone throughout the entire box, and keep your pencil strokes contained in the box to keep it neat. If you're having trouble getting smooth shading with hatch marks, try making small overlapping circles like this. There are no hard edges, making it easier to blend, though this method takes a little more time and patience. Practicing value is so important, and it's something that I've had to do in lots of my drawing classes in college. Just do your best, remember this is just practice, and this will help us achieve more realistic drawings because value gives dimension to objects, making them appear not as flat. Remember, you're only required to do one value scale, so choose which one you'd like to do, either graphite or colored pencil, and once you're finished, you can just snap a photo and upload it to Google Classroom.